Hi, welcome to the month of November. I should be working right now, but I have a sick day today because I was in a bike accident 2 days ago. I was able to work for the last 2 days as usual, but yesterday at work I started to have neck pains, which I think is normal due to the inflammation following the shock because I hit my head. So I think the whiplash or something created some inflammation, but yesterday the pain was so bad that I called in sick today, and I'm going to go see my doctor today just to make sure that everything is fine, and if it's indeed inflammation, maybe get some medication for that. But that means that I am home today, day off that I did not plan. So I had some fun filming an Inktober video, like the Inktober sketchbook tour video. I don't know why I said it like that. I wasn't sure if it would be a good idea since I've showed a lot of the artwork that I did in my last vlog, but I figured maybe not everybody saw that vlog. And also I showed 3 artworks that I didn't show in my last vlog, which are these 3. So they are digital drawings that I printed out because I wanted to see what they look like on paper, and they're so cute. I like them. Today I spent the whole day working on one of my future paintings. What I did is I put it on Procreate so I could finalize the sketch. So I made a final version of the sketch, and then I made a couple of versions for different color palettes, and this is what I ended up with. So doing all the sketch and all the color versions took all day really. So tonight I have a couple of hours in front of me, and I really wanted to focus on something simpler. I want to have some quick results. I don't want to start this painting because it's going to be a big challenge. I want to paint it with oils on canvas, so I know that it's going to take a lot of time setting up everything. And since I don't have a lot of time, I don't want to start that tonight. Instead, what I decided I would do is that I would try to paint in someone else's style, solely for study purposes. I have chosen the artist Lisa Jordan, which is the artist who was hosting the lesson that I followed a couple of weeks ago. And I never showed you what we did. So we just explored. I used this sketchbook. So first of all, we started with the comparison between wet on wet technique or wet on dry. So this was wet on wet technique. This was wet on dry paper, and you can really see the difference. When the paper is all wet, the color tends to spread, and when the paper is dry, when you apply the color, well, the color stays where you put it. Then we used some nail polish dissolvent. So I brought this. Maybe I'll try it tonight. So when you put a couple of drops of nail polish dissolvent in your watercolor, this is the really interesting effect that happens. And then on this page, what was it? This one was for gradients. We were trying to do a gradient. If you put some color on the paper and some water here and you make both sides join, then a gradient is gonna appear if you just let it do its thing. So that's what we did here. Here we explored transparency. So we put the first blob of color, and then when it was dried, we put more color on top, just to see how we can use transparency in our work. And in this instance, it didn't work that much. Well, I can still see a little bit of the pink color underneath, but it's not the most extreme effect in this instance, but I know it can work super well. Here, I think it's the same thing that we did. I'm not sure. Here was the most interesting thing, in my opinion. This is what happens when you use some salt. So you put some color, and when it's still wet, you sprinkle a little bit of salt in. You just let it dry as long as it needs. So for me, I let it dry for, I think, an hour at least, because when it's dry, then you can remove the salt. But if it's not dried yet, then you might ruin what you try to do. You can really see that both attempts really reacted differently. I think that this one was drier than this one. Here it looks like there still is salt in here, but there isn't. Well, a little bit here. I couldn't remove it here, so I didn't force it. But here there's no salt at all. You can see that there was a bunch of salt that went right here, and I love the result. Then we explored mixed media. So these 4 rectangles were really mixed media exploration. So here I made some colors bleed into one another. Same with all of them really. But then in this one I used some oil pastels on top and some ink pencils. And same here, I just had fun with the colors and the textures, and I tried to create some interesting shapes. So that's what we did. It was very, very interesting. And now what I want to do is try to do an artwork recreating Lisa's style. Of course, this is just for study purposes. What I like in her work is that it's always very flowy. It feels very intuitive. She's a specialist of like abstract mixed media floral artworks. I could finish a little painting tonight, I think. So that's what I want to do. And also, I realized that one of the prompts of October was draw in someone else's style, so I'm going to do just that. paint in Elisa style. Of course, when you do that, you have to be conscious that you're only doing it for practice and for learning and not for selling or anything like that. So I'm just gonna go ahead with no plan at all. And I might use some salt, I might use some nail polish remover. I thought that my camera was recording, but it wasn't. But I used my nail polish remover to create some dots in the main shape in the middle here. And you can see all the little round texture that it made. It's so nice. I wish you could have seen it. Maybe I can use this. Maybe there's more on it. I'm waiting for it to dry, but in the meantime, I'm having fun creating some textures. I have no idea what it's going to end up looking like. So far, well, it could go either way. Good or bad, who knows? Let's try it again with the nail polish remover. So I pour a little bit in the cap here, and then I use this Q-tip. And then what I could do is I could just like do something like this. Or I could really decide where I apply it. I'm not sure it's too good for the paper, but it's so interesting. Maybe I'm overdoing it right now too, but I'm just exploring, so I can do whatever I want. is my mic. Maybe I could hide it a little bit better. So my studio is a mess right now. I'm in the middle of filming 2 videos at the same time. I bought a couple of things at the art store and I filmed a tiny art haul with some swatches. So you can see that soon, but if I can give you a little sneak peek, I bought 2 sketchbooks. I bought a couple of Daniel Smith's watercolors. I bought 2 Winsor & Newton artist oil color paints. And I bought these 2 Neocolor 2 wax pastels. You can see my N95 mask right here. I used it when I was washing my oil paint tubes outside in a previous vlog. Well, during the summer, maybe you've seen it. Because there was a lot of fumes from the solvents that I was using, so I figured I could use that. And I just left it there because I think that if I have any other projects that create dust or fumes, I can use it. And I wanted to tell you as well that I almost finished filming my sketchbook setup video. So this is one of the sketchbook that I bought in my small art haul. And I wanted to have a sketchbook dedicated for swatches. And I also wanted it to be set up kind of like a bullet journal, in the sense that there would be an organization in my pages. So I would have a table of content, a key. I did a video a little bit like the bullet journal videos that we can see on YouTube. And I had never seen one about swatch books. And maybe there's a reason for that. I guess we'll discover it together when we see if my video works well or not. But I know that I would have liked to see a video on this subject. So this is part 1 of this November vlog. Turns out that I had a lot of content that I didn't really want to cut, and this video was going to be too long. But in part 2, I will be working on a commission, so you will see all the steps that I take when I work on a project for a client. So I think this is going to be interesting, and that's also why I didn't want to cut it, because I think this is quite valuable. I know that I always like to see these kinds of videos, so don't miss it. It's going to be out in the beginning of December. In the meantime, if you like this video, please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. Take care, and I'll see you soon.